loudly, "Son of David, have mercy on me." Jesus stood still and said, "Call him here." And they called the blind man, saying to him, "Take heart. Get up, he is calling you." So throwing off his cloak, he sprang up and he came to Jesus. And Jesus said to him, "What do you want me to do for you?" Listen at this. The blind man said to him, "My teacher," in the New Testament it says, "Rabbi, my teacher, let me see again." Jesus said to him, "Go, your faith has made you well." Immediately he regained his sight and followed him on the way. I want to talk to you this morning briefly what I've decided to call "Your faith has made you well." Your faith has made you well. Pray with me for a little while on this here thing. I find myself needing to speak with us about the reality of the state of dis-ease in our midst in many ways. Sickness is something that is common to our people. Many of us have learned how to live with a distorted understanding of reality because we spend our lives attempting to manage the pain associated with our sickness. Sickness is something that is common to our people, and the real deal is that comparatively speaking, we suffer more than other people. Because in this land called America, we are sicker than others. Listen at me as I share some statistical data with you, comparing our sickness with the disease found in the white community. Diabetes is 60% more common in black Americans than in white Americans. 60%. Blacks are up to 2.5 times more likely to suffer a limb amputation and up to 5.6 times more likely to suffer kidney disease than other people with diabetes. African Americans are 3 times more likely to die of asthma than white folks. Death from lung scarring or sarcoidosis are 16 times more common among blacks than among whites. This is the disease that killed Reggie White at age 43, as well as comedian Bernie Mac when he was only 50 years old. Despite smoking less, black men are 50% more likely than white men to get lung cancer. Strokes kill 4 times more 35 to 54-year-old black Americans than white Americans, and blacks have nearly twice first-time stroke risks of whites. Black people develop high blood pressure earlier in life and with much higher blood pressure levels than whites. Nearly 42% of black men and more than 45% of black women aged 20 or older have high blood pressure. Cancer treatment is equally successful for all races, yet black men have a 40% higher cancer death rate than white men, and African American women have a 20% higher cancer rate than white women. Why? Why is that? Well, number one, genes definitely play a role. Locked within the genetic code are the physiological indicators that give researchers insight into why it is that black people suffer excess deaths. Number two, so does the environment, the context in which you live out your life and carry out people activity seems to be more stressful. That plays a role. Number three, socioeconomic status, what you got in the pocket and what you got in the bank, contributes to the quality and the frequency of health care that our people are exposed to. And number four, oh yeah, racism. And this is according to medical doctors and clinical researchers at major medical universities throughout the country. Not only does racism, white supremacy run us crazy and cause us to be angry with ourselves and each other who look like us for no apparent reason, I might add, but racism is killing our bodies as well. This is real. The research and the data all point to the destructive power of white supremacy, but there exist other realities that destroy us from the inside out. Because we tend to hold on to bitterness and resentment connected with past disappointments in our lives, it becomes more difficult to rid ourselves of the diseases that attempt to overtake us. One of the major sicknesses that emerges out of our resentment and bitterness is blindness. Pain and scar tissue associated with past hurts can crush over our spiritual eyes and make us blind to the fact that God has already created new possibilities for us in our lives. God is trying to do something new and fresh in our lives. God is trying to heal us, but we often undermine the will of God in favor of the comfort found in the familiarity of our pain. These bodies of ours can take quite a bit of pain, but at one time or another, the pain associated with blindness becomes too much to bear, and we must reach out for someone to help us. The interesting thing that we are sometimes able to discover in the midst of our reaching out to someone else is that within us is the ability to be made well. There is a way in which we may participate in our own healing. As a matter of fact, I heard a man named Jesus say just the other day, go your way. Your faith has made you well. It's a chilly spring day in Jericho. Jericho is one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in the world and is known by archaeologists to be founded over 12,000 years ago. Located on the west bank of the Jordan River, Jericho is known for its copious springs and swaying back palm trees. Jesus wanders through this ancient city as he moves around Judea, headed ultimately to Jerusalem. He was just passing through town, but of course a crowd had gathered, holding him up as he was attempting to leave. There on the side of the road was Tim's boy, Bartimaeus. They called him Old Blind Bart. And oh yes, you know the story of how Old Blind Bart hollered out at Jesus as he sat on the side of the road. He had been designated a beggar. He had been called a beggar. He sat in the same place on the side of the road on a mat and covered himself in a cloak as if to disguise the fact that he was blind. They called him Old Blind Bart, and you know the story. As Jesus passed by and he sat on the side of the road, he hollered out, Jesus, Son of David, hey bro, holler at me. Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. Please have mercy on me, bro. now? What's wrong with, why are you sitting there? What's wrong with you? But they be looking at you like something wrong with you. He cried out. The text says that they tried to silence him. Shut up, old blind Bart. They commanded him, but it wouldn't be quiet. Jesus, Son of David, my homie, my partner, my friend, have mercy on me. Have mercy on your boy, please, sir. He was on 10, turned up, and refusing to be turned down. Turned down for what? I ain't got nothing to lose. I don't care about embarrassing these folks. I'm trying to holler at Jesus of Nazareth. I heard it was a man in town and that he gives his sight to the blind. Here's his chance for healing. A chance to peel away the cloak of disability and to relinquish the label of infirmity so that his soul could be free. He no longer was content with things being as they had always been in his life. He saw with his spiritual eyes a chance to see for himself, so he would no longer have to take the word of persons whose natural eyes were functional, but whose foresight and insight and discernment was limited at best. Oh, blind Bart may not have had his natural eyesight, but he had insight that could not be obscured. There might be somebody here today that realized that other people will try to keep you blind so they count your money. They want you to stay blind. They tell you their version of what's going on instead of what's really going on. Jesus told us about how the leaders of the blind operate in Matthew 23 and 25. He said, you blind guys, you strain out a gnat, but you swallow a camel. In Luke 6 and 39, he also told them this parable. Can the blind lead the blind? Will they not both fall in the pit? And in John 9 and 39, Jesus said, for judgment I have come into this world so that the blind will see, and those who see will become blind. But listen at him in Matthew 15 and 14 as he said, let them alone. They be blind leaders of the blind. And if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch. So it's all right with me for blind folk to lead other blind folk, because both of y'all gonna end up in the ditch, and that means you ain't gonna be in my way no way, because I'm riding that way. Oh, my beautiful children, listen at me now. When I tell you that Jesus broke with the common perspective of the time in his hatred of illness, Jesus was able to do what we call externalize the problem. Jesus externalized the problem. See, they lived in a society where they located the problem in the person. But Jesus had forethought and insight that allowed him not to locate problems in people or people as problems. Jesus said people is people and problems are problems. People are not problems, but people have problems, deal with problems. But people ain't problems, people are people. He externalized the problem and he hated illness. And he hated it, and in his belief that he shared with others was that illness did not come from God. See, folks want to say, you sick because you did something wrong. They try to locate what it is that you did wrong, the reason why you got to have an operation. They want to locate the reason why, that what happened in your life, the reason why sometimes you get confused and depressed, and sometimes you suffer with anxiety, and sometimes you have panic attacks, and sometimes you think things are bad. They want to locate what's wrong in you instead of understanding that the illness is the problem. You are not the problem. He understood that illness made people more vulnerable to despair, particularly in a society which saw illness as the effect of sin. By rebelling against the, in seminary we call it, Deuteronomic notion, that's the notion of a retributive God, meaning that God repays evil for evil and repays good for good. But you know and I know there's a whole bunch of evil folks that's walking around with a lot of good stuff. So that ain't exactly how God gets down. Jesus understood that. Like members of the despised professions, people with illnesses were often looked down upon as sinners. Thus, illness by society's definition put the person outside of the reach of God's mercy. And Jesus said, oh no, oh no. And the voice of old blind Bart is ringing out in the noonday procession. They tried to shut him down. They tried to block him and to discourage him, but he kept on shouting, Jesus, thou son of David, please, son, have mercy on me. And Jesus said, tell him to come here. They tried to shut him down. They tried to shut him up. They tried to get him to hush his mouth. But finally, he was heard over the voices of those who were trying to block him from having a voice and to silence him. And he spoke above their silencing motions and said, Jesus, son of David, have mercy on your child. Jesus said, tell him to come here. Tell him to come to me. And the text declares that old blind Bart threw off his cloak, jumped straight up from where he was, and he came to Jesus. Jesus asked him, what do you want from me? What do you want from me? What do you want me to do for you? And I was writing this sermon last night. I said, I just need to pause right there and pull out my hymn book and say, ask the Savior to help you, comfort, strengthen, and keep you. He is willing to help you. He will carry you through. Okay, I'm back. Okay. Ain't he able though? Ain't he able? Won't he do it? I know it's good. They got I had to quit writing to pray and go back to writing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm back at the text. The text says, Jesus asked old Bart, what do you want me to do for you? And old Bartimaeus said, Rabbi, which means teacher. You got to hear this. You got to feel this. You got to get this now. Teacher. I want you to give my sight back. He didn't say Dr. Jesus. Right. Because this is a situation wherein what we need to do is learn. Yeah. He didn't need the physician's touch. Right. He needed the touch from the teacher. See, he realized that it was something that he didn't know that he needed to know that was blocking him from being able to see clearly. See, information or the lack thereof puts the difference between human beings. The only reason these folks live over here because they know something we don't know. On the street, some folks elevated and some folks down because some folks know stuff that other folks don't know. I tell my children, go to school, listen to the teachers, do what they tell you to do. I need you to get through college, I need you to go through graduate school, and I need you to finish and get your doctorate in whatever it is that you're interested in. Because the person that knows the most is going to be in charge. Life ain't fun when you ain't never in charge of nothing. You know, life ain't no fun if you always entry level. You always the last to be hired and the first to be fired. Life stopped being fun after a little while. And you start hunting for a breakthrough. The teacher said you need to pay attention because you might have some blind spots that's keeping you from being able to grab a hold of that which God has prepared for you. Rabbi, I want to see ask the Savior. And the text reveals that Jesus told the blind man to go. Your faith. Y'all see that? That thing crazy. Who is crazy? Your faith has healed you. He didn't say, I have healed you. He didn't say, go ahead on about your business. I have healed you. That's not what he said. He said, go, your faith. God Almighty. See, what got me excited about it is the text says in some other place that all you got to have is a mustard seed word. I know I got a mustard seed word. I know everybody here got a mustard seed word. So that means that everybody in the room has the capacity to participate in their own healing. Did you hear me? Oh, that's empowering. Oh, I wish I had a church that knew how to pray right now. Because if you knew how to pray, you'll be shouting all over the place. Because within you, I just made some kind of announcement. Within you is the capacity to participate in your own healing. Oh my God. And notice, no, he didn't say sit, he said go. Did you catch that? He didn't say sit. Your faith has made you well. He said go. Your faith has made you well. There's an indication and an inference that you ought to be doing something once you cry out. Let me just break it down. Once you cry out to Jesus, Jesus hears your cry above everybody that's trying to keep you away from Jesus. You push through them. Your voice is heard by Jesus. Jesus invites you to come unto him. Then Jesus asks you what it is that you want, what it is that you need. Then he gives it to you. Then the text suggests that what's next is for you to go. Get up and do something for the God who gave you what it is you said that you wanted. And we don't like that. Oh no. Jesus didn't take credit for the healing. And notice, he didn't say sit, he said go. And not only that, Jesus located the healing power within the man based upon his faith. Jesus said, go. Your faith has healed you. Your faith, bro, watch these, has made you whole. Listen at me. Say to you, my dear sister, and my strong, beautiful brethren, why that ye is understood that people need compassion and support to get well. Well, Jesus understood that people need love and understanding to get well. Yeah, and he knew that people need positive attitudes and communal protection to get well. Why people need other faith-filled people to stand with them so they can shake the shackles of their illness and begin to walk with Jesus into a new destiny of healing and wholeness. And I need to leave you with this final thought that emerges out of this text, and that is that the man who was formerly known as old blind Bart, Tim's baby boy, immediately received his sight and began to follow Jesus along the road. The Bible says that he began to follow Jesus in the way. And I need to let you know that the way is another way of perceiving yourself, another way of looking at you and what God is doing in your life. That's the most important part of this narrative, because it provides a view for us into Bartimaeus' future. See, Bartimaeus was no longer